Hey, tell me how you came to get such a Roman name as that.
Well, as I understand, I'm Cassius Marcellus Clay VI, and my great-great-grandfather was a Kentucky slave, and he was named after some great Kentuckian. Well, Cassius Marcellus Clay is a great name in Kentucky. And really, where he was from or where it was all originated, I couldn't tell you. But since I've reached a little fame in boxing, most people want to know where am I from and where did I get that name. But really, I haven't really checked on it. So I see that I'm going to have to go look into it.
You'll have to look it up.
See what it's all about now that I'm getting a little interviews. Yeah.
How did you come to take up boxing?
Well, I started about 6 years ago. My bicycle was stolen, and my cousin was a boxer. He wasn't too successful, but he boxed. And he told me that he would train me if I ever catch the guy that, you know how kids think, if I ever caught the guy that stole my bicycle, well, he would, I would know how to fight, you know, I could defend myself. Well, anyway, he took me to the gym, and he quit later, but I kept it up.
Dance for the crown, dance for it. The world is watching you. The champ. The biggest sporting event has ever been held on the face of earth. There's great interest in the fact that you have joined the Muslim religion. How long have you had this interest, Cassius?
Oh, for the past 6 years, I would say, after hearing a lot of teachings on Negro history and who we were before we got here, and 1 and 1 makes 2.
You feel your affiliation with the Muslim religion, being a follower of the Muslim religion, had something to do with your winning the championship?
Well, I would say so. My religion is what the only thing that I can give me credit for pulling me through, because 99 out of 100 seemed to see no possibility of me winning. The newspaper reporters and everybody all over the world condemned me. They said it would be a mismatch, and couldn't nobody believe it. So my prayers to Allah and faith in my religion, living a clean, righteous life, I have to say that's what pulled me through.
Malcolm X, I want to talk with you briefly about your affiliation with Cassius. How long have you known him?
About 3 years.
And have you been advising him as far as his religious affiliations are concerned?
Well, no, I don't give advice to anyone. He's my brother and my friend. I express what I know and understand around him, but he has a mind of his own and understanding of his own.
The power structure had successfully created the image of the American Negro as someone with no confidence, no militancy, and they had done this by giving him images of heroes that weren't truly militant or confident. And now here come Cassius, the exact contrast of everything that was representative of the Negro image. He said he was the greatest. All of the odds were against him. He upset the odds makers. He won. He became victorious. He became the champ. They knew that as soon as, if people began to identify with Cassius and the type of image he was creating, they were going to have trouble out of these Negroes, because they'd have Negroes walking around the street saying, "I'm the greatest." I've always known that Master W.D. Farad is Allah. I believe that Master W.D. Farad is Allah, and I believe that you are his messenger. I believe that your program is right, and I believe that your teachings are right, and that it was my belief in this that made me as successful as I was. Especially, it was my firm belief in this that enabled me to stand up.
Brother, help me please. But he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. Oh, there have been times that I thought I could last for long.
It is real ignorant for any leader to say to you that you should be aggressive against the white people of America with nothing. You got nothing to fight the white people with, so why should you be so foolish to want to be aggressive? God did not send me here to teach you to be aggressive, but to be peaceful and leave the battle up to himself.
Assalamu alaikum. Brothers and sisters, I don't want to take up too much time today because our leading teacher must get to the airport. I would like to say that we just came off of a schedule for a 4-month tour but we heard that our leading teacher would be here speaking, so we had to cut short our trip in Cairo and take the next jet back for New York. But a lot of people out here listen to our leader talk and they look at him and say, well, he's just another man with some program for Negroes. But if you could travel around the world like I have, if you could go to Nigeria, Ghana, Cairo, Egypt, and talk to rulers of the world, and as soon as I talked to President Nasser, for an example, the first thing he said was, how's the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? As soon as we met President Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, we mentioned the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to him, and he talked for 5 or 6 minutes on the subject. And the whole world, everybody recognized the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. No leader, I'm not naming no organizations, I'm not naming no leaders, but I've been all over into the deepest parts of Africa and Egypt, all back in various countries in Egypt. And everybody know and are talking about the Muslims in America. Everybody. And if it was not for the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, not bragging, but a man in my position, that would be the last place I would go, is Africa and Egypt. The first stop would have been Paris, London, France, like rest of them. The Muslims that control the pyramids for sightseers, they pulled the rock out of the pyramid and gave it to me to bring back for all of the Muslims here to have. It weighs 2,500 pounds. The actual rock from a pyramid from Egypt. They said they've never done nothing like it before, and if I wasn't a Muslim, I wouldn't have got it. Say that I felt so guilty and I felt so greedy receiving all of the gifts because I was a Muslim, and if it wasn't for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I never would have heard about this or even thought about going to these countries. And this is a golden Muslim mosque that was presented to me by the Islamic Council of all Egypt.
Here's another thing I want you to remember. How much people think of the God that they serve. They build golden mosques. They don't care nothing about the gold. You over here wrangling, fussing, quarreling over a little piece of gold. We build houses out of gold. I gave it to him, yeah.
And I want one more thing to say. I haven't explained it yet. And this mosque, I'm very honored, and I hope that he will receive it. This is a gift our leading teacher for waking all of us up, because we were in a bad state of condition before we heard him.
Yes, sir! I thank you, and may the peace and the blessings of Almighty God be with you, as it's playing time and I have to return to Chicago. But I thank you, and I will never forget you for this great honor that you have given me this afternoon to come out to see and hear what I have to say. Hope that you will prepare me another meeting with you soon. Thank you.
Ali defeated Foley by a knockout in the 7th round. Immediately thereafter, he walked into the teeth of a monumental decision. He was drafted, and then he refused induction on the grounds of his religious convictions on war.
My conscience won't let me go shoot my brother or some darker people or some poor hungry people in the mud for big powerful America and shoot them for what? They never called me nigger. They never lynched me. They never put no dogs on me. They never robbed me of my nationality. raped and killed my mother and father. Well, I'm going to shoot them for what? How am I going to shoot them? Them little poor little black people, and little babies and children and women. How can I shoot them poor people? Just take me to jail.
While fighting imprisonment for his stand, Ali was also stripped of his title, denied a license to fight in the United States, and denied a visa to go overseas to fight. He was in a much tighter financial bind than most were aware of.
I don't want to see the world heavyweight champion driving the Volkswagen, guys in the Cadillacs and making fun of you. So I'm working today, I'm hauling, right? And so one day I had to speak at Canisius. Heard of Canisius? Canisius, Fairleigh Dickinson, C.W. Post. 3 colleges at $1,500 a college. Pretty good money. So I broke my wife's piggy bank. She had about $35 in it. $135. I broke the piggy bank to get gas money to get me to the college. And I got enough gas and food money to get the $4,500, the $1,500 lecture. That $45 would hold me, pay gas bills, light bills, till I get to the next college. This went on until the whole mess was over.
Inevitably, students would challenge Ali on his stand and his convictions. Remarkably, Ali more than held his own against students who had a far better formal education than he.
I'm saying you talking about me about some draft, and all of you white boys are breaking your neck to get to Switzerland and Canada and London. I'm not going to help nobody get something my Negroes don't have. If I'm going to die, I'll die now, right here fighting you. If I'm going to die, you my enemy. My enemy is the white people, not Viet Congs or Chinese or Japanese. You my opposer when I want freedom. You my opposer when I want justice. You my opposer when I want equality. You won't even stand up for me in America for my religious beliefs, and you want me to go somewhere and fight, but you won't even stand up for me here at home.
And I say this morning that it is my hope every young man in this country who finds this war objectionable and abominable and unjust, but file as a conscientious objector. And no matter what you think of Mr. Muhammad Ali's religion, you certainly have to admire his courage.
Mosques set up in the major prisons throughout the United States. In the prisons.
Shortly put, are the black Muslims taking you for a ride?
I said not black Muslims, Muslims.
I beg your pardon, are the Muslims taking you for a ride?
No, the white people have been taking us for a ride for the past 400 years in America. The Muslims are straightening me up and teaching me the truth and saving my life so that I can see the hereafter. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us the religion of Islam, and I will die for it and give everything. But as far as taking me for a ride is concerned, I've been the one that was taking me for a ride and still taking my people for a ride is the white people.
Tell me, champ, would you have been prepared to go into the army if it hadn't been for the Vietnam War?
No, under no conditions do we take part in wars to take lives of other humans.
Houston, Texas, 8 o'clock Friday morning. Enter Clay with bodyguard. To him, larger bodyguard of cameramen and reporters.
How's it going to go this morning? Champion. Have you changed any of your thinking? Have you changed any of your thinking? Or are you still going to not take the step? No comments. No comments? No comments. Your action will be registered in a matter of 2 or 3 hours from now. Still no comments.
You're registered here, not now.
But you know that you're not going to take the step. Is that not true? No comments. Why have you suddenly...
Clay's first taste of military life, and quite possibly his only one, was at the induction or call-up center at the old post office building in Houston. Just before lunch. It's all over. But Clay is not telling what happened in the private ceremony where one pace forward would have meant acceptance of the call-up.
If he needs me.
We'll be talking to him while we're here.
No comment. All of that will be in here. Everything you can ask him will be in here right after the things.
From Clay himself, nothing. The man they used to call the Louisville Lip and Cass the Gas had forsworn speech for the time being.
You going to resume your boxing career?
Are you talking to us, champ?
All I have here is statements that I have prepared. Statements that I have prepared answering all of your questions on future fights.
Come on, Eddie.
the future period, anything you can think of. I have the statements, and I have them to be released now.
Could you state briefly why you declined?
No, I will not say nothing. It's all in here.
The statement said that Clay would have been untrue to his religion if he'd accepted the draft. Clay and his advisors were more anxious that they should be recognized as a proper church, whose ministers were on a level with other ministers.
At the induction center at 8 o'clock in the morning?
No comments on where I'll be tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
Won't you say anything other than that?
That's all. Just no comment on boxing, religion, induction. No comments on the weather or nothing.
For the press? What do you have to say right now?
No comments on the press. All I have to say is no comment.
Do you like Houston, Muhammad Ali?
Yes, I love Houston. This is my home.
No comment. Are you satisfied with the way that people are treating you here?
No comments on the way the people are treating me.
Were you hoping for a more preferable draft situation here in Houston, Muhammad Ali?
No comments on the draft situation. No. Every question you ask me is useless. No more comments.
At the age of 25 now, he calls himself Muhammad Ali, and he's unemployed as a fighter. His title is gone, ripped away by various boxing commissions in the name of patriotism. He's been sentenced to 5 years in prison for refusing induction to the United States Army. 8 years ago, he stood on a podium in Rome. An American flag blowing in the breeze, the Star-Spangled Banner being played. He was given a gold medal as an Olympic champion. People thought, here's a kid with a bright future, and he was known as the so-called credit to his race. He had talent in the ring, and he had maybe more talent outside of it. He loved ballyhoo. He loved putting on the nation with a great put-on, that he was the greatest. He maybe was the greatest poet since Robert Frost. At least he had more of his poetry published, saying, Archie Moore must go in for, things like that. But then the day after he became champion, he turned off a lot of the country by revealing that he was a convert to a religious sect known popularly as the Black Muslims and formerly as the Nation of Islam. And that antagonized a lot of the American people. So now his principal role is as a Muslim minister. He's had a varied career, an exciting, bizarre, celebrated career, and now perhaps a discouraging career. Or is it discouraging right now with this 5-year sentence?
No, sir. I would say what I'm doing now is more encouraging, and I get more out of it than boxing. Boxing was only for self-gain, just beating up one of my brothers or somebody else's brother for money, possibly hurting them for life, which I didn't intend to do, and I'm lucky I never really did. But I would say I'm getting more pleasure out of lecturing at the various Muslim mosques, converting so-called Negroes.
You're a minister of the Muslim faith.
Yes, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We preach his teachings throughout America to our people. And I enjoy this much better than boxing. If I didn't, I would still be boxing. I chose this over boxing.
What about jail? Now, you're appealing, is that correct?
Oh, yes, jail. That could come up, and if I should lose the appeal, then I'll have to go to jail, and I'll be out of there in a few years.
Have you thought about jail, what it might mean? Have you talked about people who've been in jail 5 years?
Well, we are taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that black people actually have been in jail for 400 years. We've been here in America. But I don't worry about jail. If I believe in Allah, I believe in Elijah Muhammad as the messenger of God, and many great men have to go to jail. And so I don't pay no attention to it. If the time comes, I'll just have to go. Boys in Vietnam are dying for what they believe, and I can't get on them for dying for what they believe, so I'll just have to, and they're dying to free foreign people 10,000 miles away, so I'll just have to suffer so that the so-called Negroes could be free, so they could have idol and an image they can look up to that didn't sell them out.
Do you think you can do more for your people by going to jail?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes,
There's
sir.
a report that your manager, Herbert Muhammad, advised you to enter the Army. Is that true?
No, sir. No, sir. He couldn't do nothing like that. everything I do is of my own. He couldn't advise me to go to the Army. When did that report come out?
That report was in a New York paper about 2 weeks ago.
No, I didn't. This is just rumors. They can't believe that I'm this strong. They thought they would weaken me and put fear in me by threatening me to go to jail and taking my earning power. And they won't let me work in America. The government won't let me leave America where I can work. And I'm getting stronger, and this shakes up a lot of people to see that I'm this strong. It also makes other so-called Negroes strong who are facing the same problems, and in this way, I think I can do more for my people. They've never had a big black man that just stood up and identified with the struggle of his people 1,000%. Once they can get them a white girl, a blonde, a brunette, or $100,000 home, or a show on Broadway, usually every Negro watching this show now will tell you that you can't talk to them. They're too big to be with their own people. They go marry other than their own kind, and I'm so happy and proud to become great in boxing, to become the greatest one that ever lived. The greatest.
You're still the greatest.
Yes, sir, the greatest boxer that ever lived. I'm the first one that they had to take a title from in the history of all of the red, white, and blue American title. I'm the first one that they tried to make the world believe that wasn't the champion, and that never has been beaten.
What about this title now, Ali? If you're in jail 5 years, can you come back and be the champion?
Well, I don't know. I'm not really worrying about boxing. The more I'm in the spiritual works that Elijah Muhammad preaches, preaching the word of Allah, God, I forget about sports. It's not in my blood. I don't eat rash steaks no more. They make you vicious. I just eat lamb now and fish, holy foods, and this keeps me from being vicious feeling, and I really don't miss it. I have nothing else to gain. I beat the best German they had to offer, the best that Canada had to offer, England, the best that America had to offer, two-time United States Golden Glove champion, AAU champion twice, Olympic gold medal winner, defended the title 9 times, predicted the rounds on my opponents, wrote poems in poetic fashion how they would fall, and I cannot go no farther in sports. And first, another thing I like to say, I'm the only black man that black people can now say has a champion, like I would say Marciano, that's undefeated and retired.
That's true.
So Joe Louis came back. He let the people down. He got beat, and Sugar Ray was a black pride, and they got him beat up. But I'm the first one that they never could.
So you think you might just stay undefeated?
Yes, sir.
Is there a conflict now? You say, and I certainly believe you and have been with you for long enough to know that you're very sincere in your beliefs, that you're a man of God now, a minister. Is there a conflict between that and being a prize fighter?
Well, yes, we don't believe in sports.
A man of peace.
We don't believe in sports, and
the Muslims you're speaking of.
Right. We don't consider boxing men violent. It's just a sport. It's nothing. Our intention is not to kill. All we use is our fists, and they're padded. We have referees, doctors, and judges at ringside. The intention is to beat the man, outpoint him. And I've been criticized for not hurting me, and have been criticized for carrying him because I don't like to hurt nobody. I showed all this in my fights. But if I did fight again, the only reason was to get out of debt. This is the only way that I have to make the necessary money to pay my draft lawyers, which I owe $280,000 that I spent in the
$280,000 for your appeals and your trials and so on.
Fighting for justice cost me that much. And then other things, back alimony to the wife, and I can't pay nobody now because I'm not allowed to work and out of the country. So if I did fight, it'll be for those reasons. But just boxing itself, I could box tomorrow if I want to. I could just go to the gymnasium and box, but it's the money.
3 years ago, when we were coming on the way from Boston in Big Red, your great bus with Houdini, Brown, Otis 5X was driving. We had quite a gang. You said to us, Whitey's get in the back of the bus, which we dutifully did. And we had a lot of fun. And the last fight, just even though you had all this on your mind and all the pressure, you were with Boudini and you put on the Dracula masks with Saria, one of your trainers. And we had a great time up there. And people who knew you, and you've had a lot of criticism in the press, but people who lived with you and knew you, knew what kind of person you were, and you enjoyed being champion. The people being around you and the notoriety and the celebrity, you enjoyed that. Do you miss that now?
No. As I said, I can't go no higher in boxing. There's no one I could beat who could get me more praise than being a boxer. I'm always around people. I'm still around people every day. I'm around 6 of them traveling with me today. Every city I go to, people are waiting for me. I just left college here.
MIT?
MIT University.
And you were well received
we have
by a predominantly white audience?
Yes, everywhere I go. We was up at Fairleigh Dickinson in New York, C.W. Post, Iona University, Canisius University, and Penn State and Morgan State College and Princeton.
You like to be with people.
Oh,
no
yes.
Doubt
So,
about that.
by me not boxing didn't take nothing away from me as far as fame is concerned or people. I can always hold my head high. I can always put on a necktie, and I can talk. Most boxers, you bring them on this show now, even the ones fighting, they couldn't talk like I'm talking
well,
now.
Nobody can talk like you can.
Yeah, so I have lots to fall back on, so I can't just ask the question in long. I just can't miss boxing.
Do you remember, Ali, that night when we were on the bus? We were in Yulee, Florida. We stopped to get some food. It was a Jim Crow diner. They threw Boudini out, and you didn't go in.
I told him not to go at first. I told him not to go because I can tell. I went in first, and the man said something about we don't serve Negroes. I said, yes, sir, I'm sorry. And I went because we who are Muslims don't believe in forcing our places self.
And you said to Boudini that night, you said, you're following Martin Luther King and people like that, and you're wrong, did you not?
No, I don't remember saying that. I didn't mention him. I'm sure I didn't. I said.
But I think you said something about that wasn't the way to go about it.
Well, I said if the man don't want you there, and this is his restaurant, and if he hates you that much to put you out or to shoot his own white brother to keep you out, there's a possibility that vanilla milkshake you want, when he go back to fix it, he could, spit in it. And I'm sure if somebody spit in the milkshake and mix it up, you couldn't see it. And I don't see why you have to be sick mentally to want to force yourself into places where you're not wanted. You see the man hate you. You see they don't want you down here. I want you to leave him alone. We're going somewhere else. He said, no, I'm going in. I'm an American. I'm American. I got a right to go. I said, well, come on out. I bet y'all come out with what I want. 5 minutes later, he came out with nothing. He should treat me like that. I'm a man. I said, I told you, leave the people alone. They didn't want you. You just make yourself look like a fool. So we went on down the street, and another white restaurant. We could eat in. Right, we could eat in.
Yeah. But tell us about the Muslims now. As I said, the day after you won, you remember that very well. Sonny Liston, the big old bear, as you call him, sat in his corner. Quit to you. You became champion of the world. Everybody thought this is a refreshing young man.
I always wondered what was his trainer talking about. I'll let you finish right after this. You know what his trainer was talking about when Liston sat on the stool?
No.
He said, Sonny, get up the bell rung. Sonny said, my mama didn't raise no fool. I'm standing right here on my stool.
You got that poetry still going.
What was you going to say?
No, I was going to say that the next day, Ali, when everybody was saying the stereotype thing, here's a refreshing young man, we found out you were a Muslim, and people got scared.
I got bad all of a sudden, yeah.
People got scared, you got bad all of a sudden, right, overnight.
I was a good boy when I was hollering, I am the greatest, I cannot be beat, I am pretty, I'm the king, he. I was a good boy. But when I said I'm a Muslim, my religion is Islam, what's wrong with that? You have 600 million Muslims on earth, and Muslim only mean one who submits entirely to the will of God, Allah, and Islam only means peace, entire submission to God, and we don't believe in forcing ourselves on white people.
Do you hate the whites?
No, sir, we don't hate
Why has that grown up, do you suppose, that the Muslims
this is
are a
false
hate
propaganda
white
to scare Negroes, to keep them from coming, because Negroes by nature love their enemy, they pray for those who use them. Negroes by nature don't hate nobody, and so if they can make people think that we're a hate group, that'll frighten them. But we don't hate white people, we know white people, we know the history of white people. For an example, if a tiger broke in this room now, I would beat you getting out. If a rattlesnake broke in here, I'd beat you getting off of this stage. I don't hate rattlesnakes, I don't hate tigers, I just know I can't get along with them. After learning the nature of the snake and the tiger, I don't want to try to eat with him or sleep with him because I know that he might bite me. So now that
You don't think that we can ever get along now? I think that was your point with Martin Luther King.
I know whites and blacks cannot get along. This is nature. It's getting worse every day. The latest government fact-finding committee just said that things are becoming to be separate, just two societies, black and white. That's what we've been telling you, separation. Now the government admits that that's coming. White women have got gun clubs all over the country. Learn how to shoot at black targets. Understand they're making guns that'll shoot through brick walls just to get Negroes. And
Do you believe that?
I know it. I see it. Mayor Daley in Chicago, I think, somebody ordered helicopters or something just with these rats and rotating machine guns on them, and they breeding dogs that just attack black people, all kind of spray and mist and banana slicking.
Well, what are you going to do now as one of the prominent black persons and a
Teach
person
them all.
who can be a leader, and that youth
I'm
look
not
up
going to be
to.
a leader.
What is your
but
role in this,
I can't
perhaps
be a,
civil war, as people call
I
it?
can't be a leader, but I can tell them about the leader. All I can tell them is to join on to their own kind, accept their own kind, join on to the true religion, which is Islam, join on to the Muslim teachings, which is taught to us by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the honest black man preaching the truth to black people. Clean up your own neighborhoods, do something for yourself, quit begging to integrate and beg to separate.
Ali?
Well, if number one, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the religion of Islam has given me a beautiful name, Muhammad Ali, which has connected me with some 56 Muslim countries. I have 56 government invitations. This is why Washington won't let me go to Japan to fight, because the prosecuting attorney there came to Houston and told the judge that if we let this man leave, he might not come back, because he has 600 million Muslim brothers that would gladly make him a millionaire fugitive. So this is what it's done to me, where I used to try to get love of whites and beg to be with whites, and now I can go sit with kings in Egypt, Lebanon, Syria, Pakistan, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia. This has taught me a knowledge of myself, taught me to love and respect my own people, taught me to marry and my own women, all great Negroes.
But you're obviously not uncomfortable with whites. I don't think
I'm uncomfortable.
Are you uncomfortable with me right now?
No, I'm comfortable. I'm real comfortable with you. Of course, I know how far to go with you. I'm not going to go home with you now and flirt with your daughter. I'm not going to try to push you out of your suburb. I integrate so far. See, we don't. That's why I like Governor Wallace. He tells the truth about things like that.
You like George Wallace?
Yes, sir. That truth he tells, we like. He tells the truth.
You believe that?
I see him telling the truth.
You don't believe he's been a tough influence in this country and a bad influence?
Well, I don't agree with everything nobody say, but I like what he say when he says that Negroes shouldn't force themselves into white neighborhoods, and white people shouldn't have to move out of the neighborhoods just because one Negro comes. If they don't want to sell the house to him, he shouldn't, and that makes sense. If a person don't want you, why are you going to push yourself on him? And Wallace is admitting that this ain't right, and let the people do what they want to do. They need local government where they can decide what they want to do in their own community, and just don't make some northern so-called liberal come in and bust the neighborhood up, and they all have to pack up and go somewhere else and always be
What would you say for your people? They're living in deplorable conditions in Chicago now. They're living in terrible conditions in Chicago.
This is all over the world living in terrible conditions. This is why Elijah Muhammad teaches us that they need some land of their own, where they can produce and build their own homes, schools, factories, and hospitals, since they're suffering and been turned away from many of whites, and get some land, since we helped build America to be fit to the richest states on the planet, fought in all American wars to help maintain and uphold the government. Why not should we have some of the land where we can build and construct? Negroes are doctors, Negroes are lawyers, physicians, mechanics, plumbers, electricians. Why not can we go somewhere now and build a future for our children such as other people? Why should we just remain beggars and employees? Why not can we go and a job?
But do you think this could happen? In other words, you want some land in the United States.
Now Elijah Muhammad teaches us that God taught him, not me, that this land should be here or elsewhere, just like all people. No people can be free and independent without land. No people can be free if they can't feed themselves. No people can be free if they don't clothe themselves. Negroes are 22 million people, Elijah Muhammad teaches us. We don't make shoestrings. 22 million people and don't have a toothpick factory. 22 million people. If you white people closed the grocery stores tomorrow, we would starve to death.
But you have your own stores in the Muslim community.
Elijah Muhammad's buying hundreds of thousands of acres of farmland throughout the country, canning up and food and taking it to supermarkets and his restaurants that he's building all over the country. He's got his own colleges, universities. He's on radio worldwide now, national in America. He's on TV in Washington. He prints 2 million newspapers a week called Muhammad Speaks.
Yes, we've seen it.
And he's got mosques and temples all over the country, and he is the black man for black people to follow. He's not just asking for a job. He's not just asking for a house in a white neighborhood. This is nothing. See, Negroes are actually fighting for equality with the white man's dog. You may say, why? Well, when they say we want open housing, they still not getting nothing. The dog ain't got. The dog sleeps in the house with white people, in the bed, many of them. And Negroes want to ride on the best transportation up front with the white people. The dogs do better than that. He ride right in the front seat. I see him when the sun's shining. Dogs ride right in the front seat of the car. And Negroes, they won't eat the white man restaurant and this and that. Still, the dogs eat out the same plate. I see this. So in reality, the Negro's not fighting for equality with the white man. He's fighting for equality with the white man's dog. To be equal with the man, he needs some airports. He needs some train stations, some television companies, some water plants. He needs some farmland.
It's going to be hard to get, though, isn't it?
Not if he has some land of his own.
He has some land.
And if the white man gave him justice and repaid him for building up this country and working 310
Some
years.
Some people like Stokely Carmichael, Rap Brown say that the white man will not do this, though. And
well,
that they have to be militant. They are militant. You, I
well,
think,
we
probably
look-
know these men, do you not?
I know them good. We would look like fools trying to be valiant against the most powerfulest military country on earth. We would look like bulls running down a railroad track head on into a more locomotive train. You might say, look at that brave bull, but when that bull come head on with that train, all he will have left as his monument is his blood and his flesh on the track. See, we can't be powerful against the man who makes the bullets, who makes the guns. We look like fools with a pop gun hiding on a roof shooting at the army. If every Negro had a machine gun, a tank, a bazooka, a year's round of ammunition, and a good hideout, we wouldn't have a chance because we don't control no food. After 2 or 3 days, we'd be hungry. For us to be violent against America, we would have to have superior weapons than America, and we don't have the factories nor the earth to dig the material to manufacture the weapons. And if we would get the weapons, we would have to get them from
So you don't agree with
and I'm
Stokely,
sure you are not going to give Negroes weapons to shoot you with. So I'm not here to talk, say I don't agree with Stokely, I don't agree with Rap Brown, I don't agree with the late Martin Luther King. We're all black people who are fighting for freedom, justice, and equality. Everybody have their approach. There's a war going on in Vietnam. One man fights from the air, one man fights from the land, one man fights from on top of the water, one man fights in the submarine under the water, one man comes from, he's a Secret Service man or a spy. They're all fighting the same common enemies, they say, the North Vietnamese people, but they have different approaches. Negroes have different approaches for their freedom. One man believes in integrating. One day we all be white, he say, look like white people after 200 years. One believes that education and politics will solve it. One believes shooting and looting and burning up the country will solve it. One man believes integration will solve it. And we believe separation somewhere to ourselves will solve it. So we're not here to talk about these fellows. The same dog that bit them bit me and is biting me, but we just don't agree with their approach to the freedom, but we all are for them if they are sincere in their way. And one day we hope that they will all soon recognize the true leader, Elijah Muhammad, and will all soon be Muslims.
What do you think will happen? Elijah Muhammad is a very old man. One day he must die. Like
He
we
will
all
die.
do.
One day
What do
he'll
you
die.
think will happen to your group?
Well, when he died, we will be in heaven. We'll be in the hereafter on earth. America will be destroyed, and this will all be over. The Negroes with America will go down with America, and Allah.
When he dies.
When he dies, we will be free. His work will be over, and we have a few just around the corner. We don't have a lot of more years here in America.
Tell us about.
And I would like to say that Moses died too. Noah died. Lot died. All of God's prophets died, but they accomplished their missions. And
You
his
consider
mission,
Elijah Muhammad a prophet of
he's
God?
a messenger. He's not here to tell us what's going to happen. He's telling us what's happening. He's a messenger. He's the messenger of Allah to the so-called Negroes.
What about your own life now? You're married, you have a young
Yeah, I
wife.
got a little baby on the way. In about a month and a half, I'll have another little boy, I hope, and I'm young enough to hold the crown until he's around.
Do you think he'll be the champion?
Well, I don't think I want him to box. I'm going to send him to school, and I'm going to make him study and work, and he's going to be a wise man. He won't box.
You're living in Chicago now.
Right, I bought me a nice little home there and fixed it up nice, and
Still
got
drive
me a
the
little
Cadillac?
beautiful 18-year-old Muslim girl. Oh yes, I got a couple of them old Cadillacs, but I'm trying to get my airplane. Cars are too slow. I travel so much. Every day I'm in certain cities, and I'm always moving. I always have calls, and driving are killing me. And I would like to have my own private plane, and now I'm pricing a Learjet, and I have a company
Just like the
there
Arcus.
in Kansas City where they make those things, Wichita. They are working now with giving me a good deal on one where I maybe probably could lease it because it's
Well,
too
I guess
much
I'll
to buy.
pry into your personal affairs. There have been so many stories that you've been like Joe Louis and that you're broke.
Yes,
you owe your
I'm
lawyers
about-
$280,000 on one hand. Now you talk about buying a Learjet.
Yeah, I'm about gone. I said lease, see.
Lease,
You ever
I
say
see.
lease at the end? Yeah. But tax will pay for it anyway. But and what I'm trying to say is that, yeah, I'm just about broke. I'm not allowed to work here now in America. I'm not allowed to leave America. I'm not like Joe Louis. I didn't fight 13 years. See,
You
I
had
was
29 fights and won them all.
Yeah, but I just only had 9 title fights, and out of those 9 big title fights, my cut was $2 million. My cut after everybody got
After
theirs.
everything. That was your cut, $2 million.
No, not after everything. This is before taxes.
Before taxes.
Yeah, after my manager was paid, after
Right.
my opponent was paid, the peanut man, the popcorn man, and everybody, my cut was $2 million. And out of $2 million, the 10 white men that backed me in Louisville, they made a deal with the government behind my back. I knew nothing about it. Real quick, they made a deal with the government where they would give the government 90% of all my earnings before I got them. This was called the Joe Louis Law to keep me from being broke, they say. But 90% of my $2 million went to the American government, so that only left me 10% out of $2 million to live on. And out of that, I had to pay $150,000 to get rid of my first wife because she wouldn't join the faith. And then naturally, it cost me money to live, so the money's about gone. And not only me, I don't know why people are so confused over one Negro boxer getting low in funds or depleted in funds when America's broke. America's now canceling trips and things to save money. So if you know if big, powerful America can get broke, you know a little Negro boxer can get broke.
Well, that's true. You can. You've severed all connections now with your management group in Louisville, which is the group that brought you on. Did you leave them in a friendly manner?
Oh, yeah. The contract ran out. And they wanted to renew it, but they didn't want to give me the price for it, so we just had to find another manager.
You go back to Louisville often to see your mother and father?
Oh, yes, I was there 2 days ago. I was in Louisville, but I don't have time to stay there too much. The town looks so small, and the people move so slow. The friends are raised up. We'll still stand on the same corner, ain't doing nothing, hanging around the same places. And when you get out and travel and knowledge, and when you get knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and when you've been around the world a couple of times like me, and talking to wise men like you, newspaper men, and on all these TV shows, and this makes you wise and intelligent. When you go back to these little one-horse towns, you just can't stay there 2 hours. You just, after a day, I'm ready to get out.
Well, you got to move. I've noticed that about you. You like to move. You're a restless person.
Even in jail, I'm going to have a moving plan.
Move you from cell to cell, or? I don't know. Have you gotten any specific word about when they will act on your appeal?
I got a letter the other day said, get ready, because they're cleaning out your cell to take you on the trail to the jail cell without bail.
Without bail. And are you getting ready?
Yeah, if I have to. I told my wife, she's packing up a few things, and I left a certain money I buried for her to go back to.
You buried? You better watch the IRS, probably watching this show.
That's all right. I buried a lot of money that I make after taxes. I make a little money, like if I make a $1,500 in speaking engagement, I give the government that 30%. Then I take what's left of mine. I don't put it in the banks, because banks might go broke or they might get robbed. And I just take my money and I hide it here and hide it there and tell her where the hideouts are.
Well, you're not too worried. Now, Bill Russell, whom you know, of course, who coaches the Boston Celtics here, I said to him 2 years ago, I said, it's a shame that this boy, who's such an attractive boy and such a fine guy and a good fighter, may wind up broke, like Joe Louis. And he said, well, that just shows that you don't understand. And he said, you just don't understand that that's why we admire him so, is it because he's ready to give up everything for his religion.
Yeah, I haven't
go around and do this. And they don't equate you with Joe Louis at all.
These people you're talking about, they spent money on white women. They set up bars, and they went playing pool and golf for $1,000 a hole, and they were known to make millions and millions when it wasn't no high taxes, and they were not hindered by white America. They were allowed to see. The white America has completely closed all the doors on me. I'm not allowed to work in America, out of America. I was stopped right in my prime just when I started making money. So you can't compare me with nobody like Joe Louis or nobody. And I
don't think we can compare you with anybody.
I can, yes, and tomorrow I can go back to get the money. If I would only deny my faith, if I would only join up against my religion, I could easily go back to making millions. So I can always say that I turned this down. I didn't lose it. I turned it down. And I go out still with my head high.
You've always had your head high, Muhammad.
Yes, and thank you. And I'm not what they call Uncle Tom. And money, the flesh and the blood of my freedom, of the flesh and the blood and the freedom of my people comes before money. And this is why black people are nowhere today. The white man, such as you are saying now, they're always talking about money. You're broke. Are you losing money? They threaten our people with money. You won't eat. How you gonna live? Well, this is why we are nowhere today, because every time a black man get in a position where all the babies are following him, where all the youth is following him, then he's
They're all looking when you're moving around, aren't they?
Yeah, who's looking?
But everybody's looking when you're there. They like to see you come in.
Oh,
the
yeah.
babies and everybody.
Oh, yeah, so I feel proud. I can tell him he's the greatest. I can tell him to be somebody. I can tell him to fear not. Oh, what are you losing? Look what I did. Now I can preach. This all helps what I'm standing for. And I'm just happy. Everything I'm doing, I like. People see me and say, why are you not tired? Or, oh, looking great. You're so happy. Where are your bodyguards? You don't have no bodyguards? I said, I haven't done nothing.
Well, it's great to have you with us, Muhammad Ali, prize-fighting champion, minister to his people now, Muhammad Ali. Thank you.
And I want Joe Frazier as soon as you get it ready.
Okay, Joe Frazier for the title.
Before we go, just say that poem for us.
Oh, this poem explains the Attica prison. You heard that over here when all the black prisoners were shot, and just before they held some white hostages, and they said they would cut the throats if they didn't get what they wanted. And the word was, well, if the throats are cut, then shoot and kill everybody. They found out during the autopsy that the throats were not cut. They just shot them for nothing. The trigger-happy policeman, and that Rockefeller gave word 10 minutes or so, if they don't give up, I think it's the way it went, open fire. And one black prisoner came out to speak to the warden, and he said, you have 10 minutes to surrender. What's your reply? We're going to come in shooting. And the black prisoner came out, poetic poem. This didn't happen, but this is what I wrote. He said, better far from all I see, to die fighting to be free. What more fitting end could be? Better surely than in some bed where in broken health I'm led, lingering until I'm dead. Better than with prayers and pleas are in the clutch of some disease, wasting slowly by degrees. Better than of heart attack are some dose of drug I lack. Let me die by being black. Better far that I should go, standing here against the foe, is the sweeter death to know. Better than the bloody stain on some highway where I'm lain, torn by flying glass and pain. Better call in death to come than to die another dumb, muted victim in the slum. Better than of this prison rot, if there's any choice I've got, kill me here on the spot. Better far my fight to wage now while my blood boils with rage, lest it cool with ancient age. Better violent for us to die than to Uncle Tom and try, making peace just to live a lie. Better now that I say my sooth, I'm gonna die demanding truth while I'm still akin to youth. Better now than later on, now that fear of death is gone, never mind another darn. They opened fire on them, but they died telling it like it was.
Muhammad Ali.
Any white woman in this audience today, any white man in this audience today, in their right minds, don't want little black boys and little black girls coming around your homes, schools, and churches looking to marry your sons and daughters, and in return introducing your grandchildren as little half-brown, kinky-haired Negro children. No intelligent black man in this audience, no intelligent black woman in this audience want little white boys and little white girls coming to marry their sons and daughters, and in return introducing your grandchildren as little half-white, green-eyed, blonde-haired Negroes. We are not seeking to lose our identity in blood mixing and our beautiful black African history. We don't hate you. We don't hate those of you who are white. We just want to stay black. We love my color. I just love myself.
And there's Muhammad Ali standing up, pointing his finger at Gorilla Monsoon. Wait just a minute. Ali has his jacket off. He has his tie off. What is he going to do? Muhammad Ali is going to commit suicide here. Ali, look at this. Ali's coming in the ring. And Muhammad Ali is in the ring. Ali taking his shoes off. Apparently he wants to go round and round with Gorilla Monsoon. A big, big mistake on the part of the boxing heavyweight champion. What's going to happen here? Muhammad going to stick him. Trying to stick with a quick left. Muhammad now backing up, doing a little bit of dancing, not too much. You see Gorilla Monsoon circling around. Now Muhammad just stay there. Muhammad, you see, with his hands down by his side, at any moment that lightning-like speed of Muhammad Ali could make itself evident here against 400-pound Gorilla Monsoon. Monsoon with another little jab there. Ali's not finding his mark at all. Muhammad's, oh, look at this. Airplane spin. Going round and round. Down he goes. And there's Gorilla Monsoon, who could do anything in the world he wanted to at the moment. Monsoon could do anything to Ali. Ali dazed. Ali shaken. But still once more. No, he doesn't either. Muhammad Ali has learned a lesson here the hard way. Muhammad said he could beat any professional wrestler any time. I believe he learned here at this moment that he cannot take Gorilla Monsoon, nor possibly could he take anyone else of the caliber of Monsoon.
Norman Mailer wrote about you recently, where he described you as the second most prominent American, second most prominent after Nixon. We might dispute that. But would you like to be president?
No.
No?
No, sir. Too dangerous. Say, come on down, Ali, out of the galley. I want a drink. What do you want? And giving me number one spot. From the galley to the number one spot. I said, this ship must be sinking. Why is he so nice to me now? What moved him to call me up here? Black men have been males now. One might be the president. America's in too much trouble. I don't want that job now.
But I do want to bring on our first guest. He's a magnificent young man. Nobody else has aroused so much passion during the decade of the 60s. I have known him almost from the beginning. He came to New York first as a brash, arrogant, obnoxious youngster. Nothing about him has changed. Except for the palpable decline in his pugilistic skills, because once he was a very great fighter, now he is a worn relic of the past, a faded hero of yesteryear, living off weak opponents at the moment, but still mouthing words that he can no longer employ the skills to back up. I've traveled the world with him. I've seen him alienate nation after nation with his braggadocio. And he still proclaims to be that which he is no longer, the heavyweight champion of the world.
I sat back there.
Listen,
I sat back there and I listened to every word you said. Howard, every time you open your mouth, you should be arrested for air pollution. You give me more trouble. You give me more trouble than my opponents. Now, like, heard you were going to host a show, so I thought I would give you the honor of coming to talk with you. Now, what do you want to talk about?
I want to talk with you, first of all, about the fact that you would still be in impoverished anonymity in this country if I hadn't made you famous.
Now listen. Listen, no, he's awful serious. I mean, you told me you made Floyd Patterson popular, but you know yourself, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't really be who you are today. Because every time I fight, go to foreign countries, you would always be there. You never would have gotten to those countries if it wasn't me. And lately you haven't been able to follow me because I understand your budget is much cheaper.
What was it you told me? Don't make so much of that football guy, Dandy Don. We're still the #1 act. Is that what you told me when you were in training for Frazier?
When was that?
When you came to the pool at the Americana Hotel and said, where's the white guy giving me all the trouble?
You Jewish.
I do want to find out about your recent antics. I want to know why you continue to fight opponents who are obviously not qualified to meet you.
Well, Howard, right now, you know, it's a good question, and I think this is why people like you and like to hear us, because you say what you feel, I say what I feel. You ask me questions that some don't like, many want to hear, and you don't pull no punches. So what, like, I'm fighting the best men that are around for me to fight. I'm giving them all a chance. I could just sit down and I would say wait for Joe Frazier, but Mac Foster, who I just fought, was ranked number 5 in the top 10 of the world. Here's a man who's been training all his life for the big time and probably never wouldn't have gotten the payday that he got if he hadn't fought me. Getting ready to fight, say, George Chuvalo, Canadian. All Canada's behind him. I'm sure I'll beat him. But like
of course you're sure you'll beat him.
He's having another shot at the title. And like, what's his name, the boy you criticized,
Buster Mathis?
Yes, who was the one who fought Joe Frazier for his so-called title during my
Muhammad, we didn't
exile.
criticize Mathis. We criticized you.
Why did
You weren't in shape for the fight.
Well, if I wasn't in shape for the fight, Mathis didn't say I wasn't in shape. You said that somebody said
Mathis, he collapsed from fatigue.
No, he collapsed. That was the 12th round. And a lot of people are saying that I'm not in shape for my fights. But like, how much more shape do I have to be in? I'm still unscratched. I'm prettier than you, and you're a sports announcer. I know I'm prettier than you. If you look at me and look at you, I look better than you, and you don't box. So what type shape do I have to be in? I win all my fights. I would ask you this.
Will you do me a favor? Stand up and take your jacket off. I want the public to see that belly.
Let me ask you a question. Just ask you a question. Let's pretend it's my show for 1 minute. All right.
It's a disaster.
Would you say
already.
that when I fought, say, all of the fellows that I've been fighting lately, would you say that they were in shape?
Yeah, except for Mathis. He didn't look real good to me.
Well, how did he go 12 rounds with me?
Because you weren't doing anything.
I wasn't
You were
doing
slow-footed, the
nothing.
hand and foot speed gone, the
If
trick.
I was hitting
As your
you-
manager, Angelo
if
Dundee,
I
your
was
trainer,
hitting
sitting
you-
right there, told
if
me
I was
earlier, I don't know
hitting
what
you-
we're going to
if
do
I
to
was
get the
hitting
lad
you-
serious.
Look, Joe Frazier, I wasn't in shape when I fought Frazier, many of them said. I was off 3 years. But yet it was Joe Frazier who had to be under intensive care for 1 month. When I fought Mac Foster, I was 226. They say the heaviest of my career. Mac Foster the other day just got out of the hospital in Japan. They wouldn't let him leave the country. Everybody I'm fighting lately is ending up in the hospitals. I'm unscratched, I'm unmarked, I'm overweight, I'm fat, but yet I'm always winning. And what if I get in shape, it'll be a murder, wouldn't it?
As a matter of fact, your record for knockouts, I mean one-punch knockouts, is absolutely non-existent. You lack the killer instinct.
Only one time
You no
when I
longer
fought
have
Sonny
the
Liston.
hand and the
Only-
foot speed.
only
You're
when I fought-
overweight. You're not serious about your profession.
I'm
and
not
a decision
serious.
is about to be made by Angelo Dundee no longer to handle you. Is that right, Angie?
No, why would you? Is this true, Angelo? Why would you? He's trying to cause dissension. I'm on him, and he's trying to put me on Angelo. But let me
What's
tell
your
you something.
evaluation of the men Frazier's fighting? Terry Daniels,
Frazier,
Ron
I
Stanley.
think Frazier's in a position where, like, when you're the champion, like he is, you have to fight anybody, but you have to be paid for it. And the college boy just fought Terry Daniels. Somebody put up the money, which was sufficient. And who's he fighting the next fight?
Ron Stander, a heralded pugilist from Omaha, Nebraska.
Yes, but somebody thinks enough of it to put up probably $250,000. So who are we to complain when somebody thinks enough of him to put up $250,000? And Frazier would be out of his mind if he didn't take it, because he's in it for a living. He's got a big family.
All
so
right,
I can't criticize
final
his opponents.
question, because then I want to go to the audience for questions. Do you think Frazier is ducking you on the rematch? You guys can't fight again unless you fight the Jack Hancock, and he wants it in September.
I think he is. I think he's ducking because, like, I'm busy. Frazier, like, I have 7 more fights lined up in various countries, including Russia, of all places, if Frazier don't fight. But I think that Frazier's still recuperating from the physical punishment he took, as quiet as it's kept. And I think that they're picking opponents for him. They can't really hit him in his head too hard, because the 2 fellas he's fighting, I think if I fought them, I'd be run out of the country. I wouldn't fight them.
But at least the fellas I'm fighting are much better, but you at least heard of George Chuvalo, you heard of James Ellis, you heard of Buster Mathis, you heard of Jurgen Blinn. So what I'm going to say, Mac Foster.
Jurgen Blinn, hair cheesecake.
I think as soon as Frazier really recuperates, he knows where my manager is, his manager know how to contact me, and as soon as they're physically in shape, I think they'll be ready.
Wonderful to see Muhammad Ali here, getting a huge applause.
What would you like people to think about you when you've gone?
I'd like for them to say he took a few cups of love. He took 1 tablespoon of patience. 1 teaspoon of generosity, 1 pint of kindness. He took 1 quart of laughter, 1 pinch of concern, and then he mixed willingness with happiness. He added lots of faith, and he stirred it up well. Then he spread it over a span of a lifetime, and he served it to each and every deserving person he met.
Muhammad Ali, thank you very much.